Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Altadena Talks. This is episode 285, and we have a special guest, so you know what that means. I'm out of here.
Yep, I'm Jamal Smith. I was out yesterday and everything, and welcome, and I'm out too.
Hi,
And
everyone. Hi, today is obviously the Toni Talks show, or the Toni Talks segment of the Altadena Talks podcast. If I seem a little bit off, I am dealing with migraine this morning and about to take some medication, but so it looks like my eyes are real low because if I turn the light off, which will help me see better, you guys may not see me so much, but then light bothers you. If you ever dealt with migraine, it's shenanigans. So this is how I woke up this morning. But I'm super happy to have with us Nicole Feenstra. Nicole and I talked several months ago about an event that she wants to do. It's funny, I was just looking at your whole schedule for the Stronger Together event. And it's like, oh, this is a combination of the town hall meeting that I had, the Builders Town Hall last March, and all the shows. Like, I'm looking at all the people that you're having on. I'm like, oh, we had that person on. We had that person on. So it's good. It's almost like a whole recap, right? But a year later, it's good because a lot of people have not been able to move themselves beyond where they've been for the past year. And they're just now starting to say, okay, am I going to rebuild? Am I not? And what does that look like? So, Nicole, I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit and talk about the Stronger Together event that is happening this coming weekend, which is why we brought you on today, so that it would be fresh in everybody's mind. And then we'll go from there. And as we have comments in the comment section, Jamal may pop them on the screen or whatever, and we can answer any questions that we may have if someone has a question. So this is Nicole Feenstra, Rebuilding California. Tell us a little bit about who Nicole is and what Rebuilding California is.
Oh, thank you, Toni. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for what you guys are doing. This is so much about community, and you guys have been at the heart of community building. So I'm just grateful to be part of it. I started Rebuilding California because I come from a lot of industries that work in rebuilding. I work in government and construction and education and workforce development, and they're really confusing. They're really confusing industries. There's a lot of information that is really it needs a too long didn't read version. And that's why I started Rebuilding California, was to break down in human speak, in normal speak, all these complicated processes that are going to be needed for this rebuild. That's why I started Rebuilding California, was just I saw confusion. And that's sort of why I wanted to look around and see if anybody was doing what I thought needed to be done. And I have a friend that once told me, if you see something missing at the party, that's the thing you were supposed to bring. So that's what I'm bringing, is clarity, simple messaging. The Solution Summit, which is the Stronger Together event on February 21st, which is this Saturday, is a combination of both education with panels, expos with tables, and community. We have all sorts of education, from construction, insurance, remediation, financing. Where's the money coming from? These are the things that we hear time and time again. But there's also the soft things like emotional trauma and dealing with the emotion of rebuilding. And so we'll have panels for that as well. And because I made a promise that this would be fun, we have 3 performances by the Ben family, which is, they're a family that, if you don't know, I like to call them the Altadena Von Traps. They sing like angels, and there's 7 of them. And we have an exciting flash mob that's coming in the middle. We have the hoop bus coming so that families can bring their kids. We've got the hoop bus, which is super fun for basketball on the front. And then we have the Rams cheerleaders. So it should be a good time. That's the idea, is that a spoonful of sugar with the entertainment will make the medicine go down, which is some of the education. So that's the little bit about me and the Rebuilding California, and a little bit about the event.
Good. So so what is it going to actually be, more broken down, right? I talked about our Builders Town Hall that a lot of people came to last year, about 200, 250 or so. And where is it? What time is it? All of that.
Yeah, we start at 9. We have an opening prayer. We want to do sort of an emotional level set. So that starts at about 9:15. And then each of our panels start, I think we have the Altadena Town Council will speak a little bit about sort of high level. I think the thing to remember for each of these panels that we have is I've given them 3 things that people can walk away with, right? I've given each of our panelists and each of our vendors, if people can remember nothing else, what do you want them to remember? So yep, thank you. We've got the panels right up there. So 9:15, I think we start with the prayer, and I think 9:30 we go to our opening remarks with Nick from the Altadena Town Council, and then as you can see, it goes forward from there. We're going to get all the businessy stuff out of the way, like insurance and remediation. And then, we've got some stuff about wildfire preparedness. Home hardening is something that most people don't know, but there's ways that you can build so your house doesn't burn again, because we know fires aren't going away. They are a thing of the future, not a thing of the past, unfortunately. And there are methodologies towards rebuilding that actually work. There's also money for home hardening. There's money with the SBA. There's money with different organizations who have lots of acronyms that I'll refrain because there's so many acronyms. You come to the event, you'll see them, and they'll tell you about the money that's available. But yeah, there's money available for those sorts of things. And then
are these like grants or loans? Because a lot of people don't want to have to take out a loan, right? Totally. Not just the people that lost their houses, but someone who didn't lose it, had to do remediation, and then realizes they need home hardening, or the average homeowner that's in an extreme fire area, which is anywhere with our San Gabriel Valley, San Gabriel Mountains, right? From Laverne, to La Cañada or a little bit beyond. But that's the biggest thing that I think that we're hearing a lot about is everybody keeps talking about, yeah, there's money, and people go, yeah, but when you get down to it, it's taxable. It's either going to be a loan or it's going to be taxable. It's not going to be truly a grant that's given. So is your event going to have speakers or someone there that says, or these people that have booths that say, yeah, ours is actually, there's this program that's set up and you can apply and either you get it fully paid for, partially paid for, or whatever. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, SBA is a loan, right? SBA has mitigation funds. That's a loan. Low interest loan, but a loan. IBHS has grants. The Fire Safe Council has grants. I think there's a group called Resiliency that has grants. Mm-hmm. So there's a few that have grants. The other Fire Safe Council will be there. They are grants, especially if you come in community. I think one of the 3 pillars that I had with this was education, expo, and community, right? We are stronger together. We can get discounts together. We can, so there's certain things that allow for dropped rates. So if you come in together for home hardening, there's money for collective bargaining. And then there's also dropped insurance rates. So we'll have the insurance industry there talking about what that looks like. They saw that in Paradise where they started home hardening and Mercury came back. And when you're doing it together, it's not just you, but you and your neighbor and you and your neighbor's neighbor. It makes the sort of net of protection stronger, but it also affords you more discounts.
Well, I think even with that, because I've talked about that on here several times, that I'm part of the After the Fire group and summit now. And when I was up there in Sonoma in September, there were people there from Paradise. There were people there from Lahaina. There were from all over, Boulder, everything. And they spoke about rebuilding after the fire and their insurance skyrocketing. And then they got the IBHS Fortified Home Certification, which is a little bit different. And the funny thing about that is IBHS has this Fortified Home Certification, but it doesn't even meet everything that California requires. So if you are building your home now after this fire and you rebuild to the California standards, our standards exceed IBHS. And that Fortified Home Certification. So you should be able to get that, and or your builders should be able to get something so that your insurance company sees all of these things were met. It exceeds IBHS's certification. Right. And so there's no reason for them to jump you from, let's say your insurance was $2,000 or $2,500 a year to $10,000 or $15,000, because that's what a lot of people have seen. And that's why a lot of times you hear, oh, the community will never come back because insurance is too hard to get, or all these insurance companies are dropping and all we can have is the FAIR plan and that doesn't cover. So there has to also be policy, because we know insurance is a scam. It's a game. You pay all into it. Nobody, I don't care if it's a home, a car, whatever, health insurance, everything. And we know that it's not right. And so we've got to have policymakers that can work with insurance companies and a governor and an insurance commissioner that doesn't allow them to keep raising rates, but then deny claims, right? Because we've seen that here, and it should not be.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I don't work for the insurance industry. I don't make any money from the insurance industry. What I've heard, another perspective to think about insurance, is they are in the risk assessment business. They're not in, right? They're in the risk assessment business. So when you are a better risk, then there's no reason not to insure you, right? And again, I'm not representing the insurance industry.
I think that is also like a tagline or some gaslighting that they say, because no, you're in the insurance business to insure and pay, not risk assessment, risk management only. That it obviously comes with risk. Right. So it would be interesting to hear. I won't be able to be at your summit this weekend. I have another engagement that's previously planned, but it will be interesting to hear Sussman Insurance talk about that, because the people that I personally know that are insurance agents or brokers, when you talk to them, it's not a whole lot of common sense, meaning you and I would say, no, if I pay you, right? Just like if you go work a job.
Yeah. I get
you
paid.
Were paying me to show up every 2 weeks, every week, whatever. You pay me for the services that I gave you as I was working. When it comes to insurance, if I pay you and there's a whole policy that says I'm insured for A, B, C, and D, then how is it that when A and B happen, you want to take me through every hoop on the planet and not pay out what my policy says you owe me? And so I think that again, that's not anything for your solution summit or anything like that.
Actually, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, Amy Bach from Insurance Policyholders will be there to talk about how you deal with that. So they're Insurance Policyholders is a nonprofit, and they are they're advocates. They're insurance advocates. And whenever I've talked to anybody on her team, both her and Annie, they are so immensely, like, they give nuggets that are gold. So I would, if you've got folks that have insurance questions, bring them and have them talk. They're going to be at a table, so you can bring all your questions. She's really good. And everybody I've talked to that's met them is like, oh my gosh, they are so pragmatic, so helpful. A sidebar that she told me that I want to share with your listeners that I thought was really important is around the Edison case. It's a total tangential, but if people are let's say people decide to take the Edison, buyout, right? Again, I'm agnostic to what people choose to do.
Right.
But if they decide to take it, they need to make sure to put it in a trust and not take it as income, because it can affect your healthcare. I don't know if that's something.
Everything. We've been talking about it here. We've told people it can affect your healthcare. We've told people, look at the fine print, because they say if you do take this settlement, never, ever, ever again would you be able to come and sue Edison. Even if you live somewhere else in California that had Edison or somewhere else, and another fire happened and it was their fault, you would not be able to sue them because you took this settlement. It could be 10 years from now or whatever. It also does not affect, or there is nothing in a provision for this settlement or it doesn't have any provision for your health, your future health issues that can arise from the toxicity, the air, all this stuff, the dirt that there has been. So I told Edison to their face that their offer was a sham and a scam. I did. Yeah. And that they should be ashamed of themselves, because how dare you throw money at something and think you could throw 40,000, 100,000, whatever it is, right? 200, 400,000 at somebody and do like this and wash your hands. So again, even with your Amy and them, the advocates, if they're not making policy and making it so that insurance companies change what they do and how they operate, That's great to hear. Oh, you can do A, B, C, and D. This can help you, but that doesn't help anyone from the future. So that I think may not be part of your summit because again, that's policy stuff, and we really need to get good policymakers in wherever with our state to make sure that the insurance company, behaves and changes how they operate.
Totally. And what I was gonna say with
hold on, Nicole. I'm seeing half of your face.
Oh.
Yep, there it is. Perfect. I don't know if you just moved.
I thought that was just like me. No, the follow-up to the point I made about that was that if somebody decided they were going to take it, right? They needed the money, they were going to do it, is to put it in a trust.
Mm-hmm.
So you take it as income, you put it in a trust. If for some reason, because if somebody says, we want the money now, we don't want to wait, right? And again, I'm just saying there's so many landmines with this recovery. We want to help give people the awareness of the landmines so they don't step on them.
Yeah. And even with that, if someone owns a lot, had a house and never had it in a trust, put that in a trust now. Yeah. My parents put theirs in a trust about 6 years ago because they didn't have it. And so the house, all of that. And then on top of the trust is, once you get a trust, and what you're talking about is you get a trust bank account, and all your insurance proceeds, life insurance, whatever, need to go into that bank account, because then your family never has to deal with the banks ever again. You make your own bank, right? Absolutely. And you can take your own personal loans from it, buy a car cash from it, whatever, and pay it back that way. But even more important, like what you would pay in property taxes every month, every year, whatever, you put that in there. And this is what I've told people, even where I live, some of my neighbors that are like, oh, we're getting older and we're probably going to leave this house to the kids. And I had this discussion a few months ago. Is it in a trust? And do you have a trust bank account? And they were like, no. So I walked them through all the steps. And then I said, and you need to make sure you have a rental agreement. Right. So even when you pass away, it's part of your will. They have to pay rent to live in that house, even if you give it to them or something, right? It could be fully paid off, but they need to pay something into the trust bank account monthly. If it's $1,000, $1,500, well under market rate, but that helps pay for repairs. That helps pay for property taxes every year, everything. So yes, have a trust and a trust bank account and begin to operate that way and free your family from a lot of the shenanigans of the banking industry and all of that. But super important that you all will have people there talking about that.
Yeah, and to tie that into, we'll have the tax assessors, we'll have the assessor and the tax collector office. And that, one of the key points that they made to me that I want your listeners to know is make sure you know like where your deed is, and that the assessor's office knows where you are, knows your proper mailing address, because you hear about this you hear about this, in other neighborhoods where people's deeds magically get lifted from them, right? You really want to, so if grandma had the deed or mom had the deed and it, burned in the house, like make sure you know where your deed is, make sure the assessor's office knows where you are so that you maintain that, right? Have that direct line. So the assessor's office and the tax collector's office will be there to not only talk about that, but also the like for like. What does that look like if we're going to change, what does real like for like mean? Because this is going back to your assessing and the taxes, right? We want to stay, if you had this home for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, you want to make sure if that tax is going to go up based on whatever construction type you want, right? What does like for like have? So all of the builders I have are going to be talking about where if they have approved plans, like the Builders Alliance, they have approved plans, like these different, like Altadena Collective, they have approved plans. But where does that land in the, like in the plot, right? The sort of the land, the layout.
So what Jeff said, the county assessor, Jeff Prang, when he was on the show, June 12th of last year, and I tell people all the time, go to our YouTube, look that up and everything, because he made it very clear, because we had some confusion about the like for like, and can you go 10% or 200 square feet or above, and how that affects your taxes, the assessment. And he was like, doesn't affect it at all. That has to do with permitting only. So we got rid of that confusion when he was on here. Another thing that he said was, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 square foot, 5 or 10, that will be at the new tax base. So your Prop 13 tax base will remain the same when you rebuild your home. Right now it's 0, and the only assessment people are paying is on the land. Once the structure is rebuilt, it will go back where you get that bill and you see the land or the structure and the land. But what I asked him to do also was for them to code in a line item, at least for the first year, so that people can see if they've added on the difference between their regular tax base and what the new additions are, right? If they do go up 50 or 100 or 200 square feet. And then the second year, go back to it just being one big bill, because people have so much on their plates that they might get this bill and go, why is it higher? Or they may never even remember. And if they had their old tax bills, yes, you can go online, but we've got a lot of elderly. They may not be so tech savvy and go online. They may have lots of paperwork and lost it. And then recently we also talked about the restricted covenant deeds, because several deeds burned in houses, and now people are asking for new deeds. And when they get them, they're seeing this racist verbiage and language that says do not sell to coloreds in Altadena. And so part of that, as of 2022, is there's a new law in California, and people have to get their deed. And if they see it, they've got to highlight or underline that, send it in to the assessor's office. The assessor will give it to county council. They'll say remove, and they will issue you a new deed without the restrictive covenant. So all the things that you're talking about are super important, are in reinforcements of what we continually talk about here. And I'm glad that, you know, there's another opportunity for people to come and find out, because now, and I've been screaming this for a year, doesn't matter what you get. If you happen to have signed a W-9, it can become part of your taxable income. You will get a 1099 this January, February. Now it's happening, and people are freaking out. Like, why do I have to? You got that 10,000 or that 18,000 or whatever as part of the, here's a grant for you, but you signed a W-9, which makes it taxable income. And so a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it on the show, somebody said, well, Toni, can you guys do a show on that? So what I did instead, I spoke with Pastor Angel Cade at Victory. And actually, part of the announcements later, they are having an event tomorrow that's a 1,000 person Zoom meeting to go over all of it. Taxes, the 1099s, all of that. And we'll announce it. But it is so, so important, Nicole, that people understand what is happening a year later and moving forward, right? And whether it's home hardening, talking to new builders because they haven't decided and they're just deciding, whether it has to do with taxes and whether your insurance proceeds and ALE are taxable, you know, the exclusions, because there was 2 designations, right? Federal and state. And so what are the exclusions based on that? And when they expired, because some have expired and they're trying to get them to renew it, right? So there's so much that, you know, you got capital gains. Let's say you bought a house in the 50s for $20,000 and now it's worth $1 million, $1.5 million, and you lost it all in the fire and you don't owe anything on it. So your insurance pays you out in full, right? Your full policy.
You need to have it in the trust.
Maybe $900,000, and now you got this, and so is that capital gains. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. I was having a big discussion with my parents about it all yesterday, and I was like, no, but theirs is in a trust. So I was like, just relax. It's all good. But
it's so, you know, it's so much about I'm peeling this onion, right? It's like, and you know, 7,000 people never wanted to be in construction. 7,000 people never wanted to be rebuilding, right? So, and there's so many pieces to it. So hearing it over and over again, it might feel like, but I already heard that, but you'll hear something new that you didn't know that will help make a better decision that will move you forward. That's the whole goal, you know? And this is just one summit, you know, this is like this education, these conversations. I just want to applaud you and your crew for what you're doing consistently day in and day out, because this is how we normalize these conversations. Because I think they're conversations no one was having before. And now people are like, oh yeah, you talk about trust like it's talking about getting a cup of coffee, or you talk about, you know, making sure that you don't take it in XYZ. And that becomes a normal conversation as opposed to hidden in the shadows that sometimes you have to hear it several times. I work in advertising, and it's 21 times you have to hear something before you remember it. So while it might feel Like people go like, oh, I heard that already. I think there's always ways you can learn this information that will help make a better decision. And
Absolutely.
One of the builders we have is like, they worked in Santa Rosa, and by year one, 1,000 homes had been built.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what's the difference? And he said, one, there was no rental stock for them to go anywhere else. They had to be there. And two, there were a bunch of builders that were in the neighborhood who people trusted, who they'd had barbecues with, they'd had dinner with, they knew, and there was not a lack of trust. And I think that's what I'm hoping is to open the door to more kinds of builders. We've got production builders, we have GCs, we have prefab builders. So there's a wide variety. And I've told all of them, no selling, this is education. Like you're educating them on construction. That is your whole job. And I've got builders who are competing for business on the same panel. And I said, your job is to educate them because they don't know these things. And I was talking to like one of the architects, and he said, we need to help people feel comfortable that they can release the reins because they're holding on so tightly to everything that it's exhausting. So we want to.
There may be people that decide they don't want to do anything for another year. Right. And I don't know if it's necessarily releasing the reins, but everybody has to move at their speed and what's comfortable for them. And I think that it's really good you say that, because I did the same thing at mine, and somebody tried to sell and I cut them off, and somebody was there trying to talk to people from Mississippi talking about, oh, I'm a contractor, I want to come build homes. And I was like, not here, not today. But so you, if you're the moderator or whoever, make sure that when somebody has the mic, you are either ready to take it or I'm dead serious, because I took mine twice from people at my summit last year or at the town hall, or turn that mic off, because people will take the liberty, even though you've given them instructions and said, don't do this or please don't do this. They may take the liberty anyway to do it.
Right.
And part of why I did mine so early, I think you and I talked about this. Mine was literally 2 months from the day of the fire, March 8th, right? Wow. Fire started the 7th. By the 8th, we knew Altadena basically was gone, 90%, 95% or whatever, right? 5,800 homes and the rest, buildings, structures, schools, all of that. But the fact is, I did it because I, number one, did not want people to sit in their sorrow, in their loss, and be depressed. Because once that sets in, it could be extremely heavy. That was number one. Number two, I wanted people to be able to hear from builders about what the process is, what permitting is like. This is what we can offer. And I had a variety of them, and fire chief and, different people to hear, so that they would go, oh, okay, and have an understanding and ask the questions of these people who are in this industry and have been for a while, because we can all ask each other, but if we're not experts, we're barking up a tree that we know nothing about, right? And so it was like, I want people to be here. I want you to hear. I want you to get all the questions answered. And if you feel, we had a lunch break and everybody ate and they were able to talk to the builders during the lunch break. And if you feel like you want to speak with any one of these further, like a consultation or whatever, you can. Well, there are several that I know of that will be home next month, April, and on, from builders that they connected with at that town hall, that you can drive around and see some of the signs up from different builders. And so these people will be home less than a year and a half later, where others are just starting to say, okay, yeah, I want to meet with someone, but they may be home before that ALE runs out in January or by next summer. And when I was just up there this weekend, Saturday, it's got to be 200 plus homes going up, at least in Altadena. Palisades, I know, is a little bit slower, but at least like you drive by and you see something, whether the foundation has been poured or they're trenching poured or their walls up or, whatever. And it's so beautiful to see, because it's like, oh, our town is coming back.
Right.
And quickly, because a lot of times, and I know you've heard this and being in that industry, 7 to 10 years before, your town is back. Now, 7 to 10 years from now, Altadena will probably almost be like it was, meaning houses and then businesses, schools, whatever, back fully. And that's going to be amazing to see, because it generally doesn't go this fast, but part of it has been this community. We are such an amazing, close-knit place. I know people that don't live in California anymore, but grew up in Altadena, that are constantly calling and texting, Toni, what's going on now? Because they know all the podcasts. I can't always chime in, but I'm watching it almost every day. They get a lot of information and they're thankful. But that's how we are. You could be overseas and people are still connecting. I mean, it happens with me, but it happens equally with Brian and Jamal, right? Yeah. People are constantly connecting. And so because of, I think, our closeness as a community, is why we're having these successes, these continual conversations, these continual summits where people are, Tatras ALE is your alternative living expenses. That's what they pay you through your insurance policy to live somewhere else. That's your ALE.
Something to bring in with the ALE question is that if people do have, if they are, facing an ALE situation, there's what they call stick built and there's something that they call prefab, right? For people that don't know construction terms. Stick built basically means they're building the whole thing on the site, and prefab means they build the pieces offsite and bring it in.
Cut them and bring them, right?
Exactly. So there will be several prefab, and it could be kitted, which is like they bring the things together, or modular, where they bring a whole piece and they sort of put it like Legos or building blocks. And so those go up faster, they just do. They go up faster. So if someone was facing a situation with ALE where their ALE was running out and they needed to go quickly, they could look at that. And I think they could look at the prefab as an alternative to a stick built, which just is going to take longer, right? There's no way around it. So looking at, I was thinking about, I always tell my panelists, pick 3 things. And the 3 things that come to mind if you are rebuilding is knowing what your number is, your real number. So what you got from insurance, if you didn't get insurance, what you're getting from SBA, and what are the alternate money options, and what are they? What is the money that you have to rebuild? And then backing up from there with a 20% cushion, right? Yeah. So that you know that. And then when you're looking at a builder or you're talking to an architect, you're building with that number in mind, not with the dream in mind. So it's like the idea of a dream with a calculator, but know your number. And then when you're talking, having communication with these builders, to have communication timelines or what those are, because I think a lot of people will say, I haven't heard from my builder, I haven't heard from my architect. And I think building in a communication flow so that that's built into the contract, that you have this ongoing, and on our financial panel, there are a few firms that will provide and ensure staggered pricing for, if you say we're working with a GC, which is a general contractor, when should the money be going out? We'll also have the DA's office there to talk about how do you spot for fraudulent contractors? What does that look like? That's super important. I asked, I've been talking to people in the community and they already said that people have kind of gotten scammed, which is just heartbreaking. So
they have, but at the same time, Nicole, and this is what I keep saying, we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink. You can give people information 24/7 because people don't want to research on their own. Exactly. We have this podcast and we are at episode 285. Do you know how many people go, we've never heard of you. What are you talking about? Da, 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 da. And not only are we here daily, Monday through Friday, we're in the community on the weekends. We do a recap generally on Mondays, but all the episodes are on our YouTube, right? So we're constantly telling people. But the thing about it is, people have to take accountability for themselves, right? You are getting ready and been planning this for months from when you first connected with me in the fall. Yeah. You have this big, amazing event, and you're going to have lots of people there getting lots of great information. Right. But
what do they do with
it? People have to be accountable afterwards for what they do with that information, and if they're taking notes and all of that. A lot of times people go, they see booths, they want all the free stuff from the booth, right? It might be a sticky pad, a pen, or whatever. Make sure you have a journal of your own that you are bringing and to go back on. You take your notes, you take the numbers, all of that, and make sure you follow up as you need to. Because if we give you the information, we know it's exhausting for everybody out there. It's just as exhausting for us.
Right.
Literally, I have had to be like, I can't. I got to take a 2-week break. That was in December. I was off for 2 weeks. I was like, sorry, Jamal and Brian, I'm taking my me time, right?
Tapping out.
Because we do this so much. We have jobs. We work full-time jobs, right? But we do this full-time.
Right.
And then when people come up to you and say that, you just go, I just look at people sometimes. Because I know me and I try not to get a smart mouth because I got a mouth. And so I just have to, try to operate in grace with people. But Nicole, what you're doing is amazing. I'm glad you're doing it. But I want everybody watching and listening, please take accountability for yourself that when we work hard to bring this stuff to you, do what you need to with it. Don't say, oh, well, they'll tell me. Oh, I can get in touch with Nicole. She'll tell me what to do again. I could talk to Toni. We'll do it again. I'll talk to Brian. They'll tell me again. No, because it might be a day that I just look at you instead. but normally what I do, I tell people, oh, you know what? You can go find it on our YouTube.
Yeah.
Because all of these episodes are there and you can go pull them up, scan through them. And matter of fact, they could put Solution Summit after today, right? Because they may forget. They could go and type in Solution Summit. It's going to take them exactly to this episode.
And we will update the website with all of the information that's gathered right now. Full disclosure, right now the website has like sort of the panels, but we will do more. We will fill it in with all of the information after the event. But I would say for each of, if for your listeners that do go this Saturday, which we hope you do, you are more than welcome to ask all of the vendors and the speakers, what are the 3 things that Nicole said that you asked her to tell you? Like I have given each of them the mantra. If people remember nothing else, what 3 things do you want?
What's the key takeaways? Right.
Remember, and what do you, like, where do you go? Like I did it this morning with the Department of Economic Opportunity. They have a workforce program. And we have workforce and jobs. And I said, well, how are they supposed to know where to go? We're going to give the website. It's Department of Economic Opportunity.gov/workforce. And like, where do they go? They go here. This is where you go if you've got employment for people. This is where you go if you need a job. This is, so that they literally know exactly where to go to. Because I think, no offense to my government allies, but my gosh, talk about ants on a page. You know what I mean? Like, they're long, girl. I'm like, just one thing, like 3 things that I do and where do I go? Because it's too many words, too long, didn't read.
Yeah. So, and the thing with the accountability is do the research, ask the questions, take your notes, because at the end of the day, when you speak with someone that says, I can do A, B, and C for you, then you need to check A, B, and C. I've talked about it 100 times. When it comes to anybody that's come on this podcast, especially these Toni Talk segments, when it's builders, not only have I had a conversation with them, but I've checked their California State License Board to make sure that contractor's license is theirs in their name and it's accurate and it matches what they have in any advertisements. I also check on that site their bond because it tells you if they have that $25,000 bond or more, is it good? Then I contact that bond company to verify it. I also ask them for their insurance and I contact that company on my own and say, please verify they've got this 2 million or 1 million or whatever. So people have to do that, right? I cannot take your word for it or anybody at your panel's word for it. Otherwise, I could be taken advantage of. Yep. One of the things I do want to address is a couple people have asked some questions about, is any part of this going to be streamed? Is any portion of your event going to be streamed?
No, but we are recording it and we will pull together the content for people afterwards.
Okay, you'll edit and do all your stuff and make it pretty and put it up on your website probably later. Do people have to register for this event or can they just show up?
We would love for them to register because we are trying to get people fed. And we need to know how many people. And like the
yes.
Centers, like,
I understand that. I've done that twice.
So please, if you want food, register. So yes, you can go to our website, which is summit.california, rebuildingca.org, or you can go to our Eventbrite. Either way, you can sign up.
Do you have those links that we could pop up in the chat? If you put it in our private chat, they'll pop it up in the chat. And then someone asked also, are there plans to have an additional Stronger Together event, like at a later point? Because I know Brian and Jamal have been telling me, Toni, you did that a year ago. We need to have a follow-up event. And I'm like,
absolutely. I think, and I think one of the things that's been coming up for me as I'm thinking about, I think this is very heavily weighted towards construction and rebuilding. And I know that there is a lot of requests for stuff for renters. Disclosure, I was a renter and have been a renter my whole life, and I was displaced. So I certainly understand not having that sort of equity in a home, and not having tenants' rights. So, and also funding for people who don't have insurance, or we're not way underinsured, or I think that's
none at all.
And none at all.
And we've learned that people thought that once their house was paid off, they didn't have to have an insurance anymore. In my brain, and I had to say, please forgive me, people, because I was like, why would you think that? Because we can have a car that's paid off, we still got to have it insured, right? So that was the way my brain worked. But then it was like, Toni, show grace. Everybody, different ages, different circumstances, and people literally thought, my house is paid off, I don't have to have it insured. But the insurance should be so that should something happen, they can do that. Even if it's a pipe underneath that burst, right? If it's insured, they can replace that or whatever. So as part of recovery, it is also, Nicole, very important as we continue on that we have workshops that maybe are away then from the construction piece, because people have their construction, but how, like the long-term recovery groups, in order for you to access the funds, if you were underinsured or severely underinsured, you've got to go through these steps and these processes with the LTRGs. And part of it is counseling. You have to be able to understand, you must be insured. What does that look like? You must understand what it looks like to be a homeowner, because when you're no longer a renter, if a pipe breaks, that's on you, not anybody else, right? So having budget, having money set aside, not necessarily living paycheck to paycheck, being able to save, but there's a whole entire, we call it care management with Victory's legacy project. But the other ones are case management. And Victory said they wanted to be care. We really want to care for people, right? But the case management process is that there's a bunch of counseling that has to happen before everything is signed off on. And that all happens first. And then whatever builder you go with, that's an approved builder with that LTRG, the money comes in and it goes to the builder. You work with the builder to design your home or whatever, and then it goes to the builder. So, but money management is in there. Things like a will, your trust, all that kind of stuff. And that's super important because we have found in this, even though we live in California, which is prone to fires, and we've seen them in other parts of the state, and we've had empathy, we found that a lot of people just do not have those skills or the knowledge to implement the skills in order to be a homeowner and understand about all of that stuff. So super important, and glad to hear that you're looking forward to doing things like that in the future.
Absolutely. And especially for people, what breaks my heart is like people who had a home and now are living in their car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that is, to me,
that shouldn't be.
That's just unfair. That's just, you know what I mean? And so how do we help the folks that are in that situation as well? What are the options for that? I think as a human, like that's, like I know all of the builders in that business industry because of my business side, but the human side of me is also about what about the folks who, are now in a version of homelessness, and weren't before. So how do we work on that, and how do we get resources to people for that, and what resources are available for that? So that's something I think for future events I would like to tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. And extremely important because we have to, and even to me, looking at community, right? And letting community be the biggest input, because we've got so many outsiders that have come into Altadena that think they know what's best for us. Because even like, we have our county supervisor, but when she developed the ARRC or whatever, the ARC thing, now all of a sudden it went from being the ARC where it was focused on all of that to being a nonprofit that her husband runs and she is part of as a director and all of this. And it's like, so wait, you guys gonna do make money off of, what this is? And a lot of things that are happening, they're not listening to the community, right? Or getting community input, because someone was saying, well, look, we need a dog park. I've said we need a memorial for veterans. But they're getting all this money to do what they want with our parks, right? The county. But are you listening to the people that are paying the taxes that make the county have the money to do anything? Yeah. And that's what I find disheartening. And how come we don't have, with all the rundown properties and stuff that there were, and there still are, right? The ones that didn't burn down. How come we're not rebuilding some of those and making them housing, right? Even if it's temporary housing, that means it's a year or two. Our community should not have a bunch of homeless people sleeping in their car because
they had a home.
Exactly. And lost it. So to me, that's something for the future that we need to say, hey, we got this building over here. Can we convert something so that these people aren't living in their car and we're giving them constant handouts, but they feel like, okay, I can live here while I'm going through all this and the LTRG. And it may take me, instead of the people that have the insurance and the money and are rebuilding, it might take me a year or two, but at least, like you said, I'm not living in my car or having to go to a homeless shelter or whatever. Those are the things to me that are super important as well, that we need to look at and tackle and maybe have some conversations or summits or whatever about for future.
Well, and to tie into that, that's the reason why joy is so important to me at this event. That's why I have the Ben family singing. That's why, if you are listening to this and you want to be in community, I want you to be part of our flash mob, because I think when we do things in joy, it makes the medicine go down, right? It's the whole spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. And I think when we're doing things together, it's why I mentioned to you this long table dinner. When we're doing things and we're breaking bread or we're in community with each other, that allows us to find solutions. That's the whole point of the Solution Summit, is that we're in a room together and we start, what about this and what about that place? And, it's like we start ping ponging. My goal is that people start coming up with solutions together, that they find agency in connection, that they overlaps. Maybe you find somebody you want to go and build a home together. You guys both, work with the same builder and you save money because, you're collecting, it's collective bargaining, or you learn something that you share to a neighbor who didn't know something. You bring something to your community that's information, and you extend the information we have there out to the community. So that's my goal, is like connections, collective bargaining, all of that kind of stuff where we are stronger together. That's
totally.
And also there's the Rams cheerleaders. So, because they're fun, and the hoop bus. So
they wind up being at pretty much everything nowadays. So hey,
blessed.
They are.
I'm so grateful because they are so much fun. They bring the energy up, like all of the kind of I would say sort of our fun stuff is like midday, like 11 to 2. So like, if you want to come for the fun, joy, like come then. We're going to have all the businessy stuff in the morning, and sort of kind of the level set in the morning. Mid-afternoon's kind of all construction, and the afternoon is sort of future thinking. So like, your taxes, and also like workforce development, jobs, money, that kind of stuff. But we just want to get as many people in the room, because I think that's where we start discovering more solutions than even I can come up with, like that's I'm just sort of setting the table. Everybody else gets to eat,
Yeah. No, I love it. I think super important. I want to hear, later on it. Like I said, I won't be able to attend. I've got another engagement, but I think that it's
I'll come back. We'll talk about it.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I'll tell you.
So Jamal, or because I try to keep us on time and we're about 10 minutes out. So Jamal or Brian, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm really struggling today. I'm trying to act like I'm not, but my head is like
Doing great.
Yeah.
If I had I don't know if I would be. I don't know if I'd be with that. With
either of you have any questions or comments for Nicole?
I have kind of it's not as serious a question, but it's a little fun. How's the shimmy and the shuffle and your dance moves coming?
I appreciate that. That video was like me just punking because I was like, I've never put together a flash mob. How hard could it be, right, Jamal? Like, how hard could it be?
Yeah, right.
Right.
The shimmy's coming. We've got a choreographer. We've got some adorable children that are going to be in on the flash mob. So you're going to want to be there to see it. I mean, it's coming. The whole goal is like, I just love surprise joy. Like we need more of that. Like the world is hard, man. It is tough. Like everywhere you look, it's like something is like, oh my gosh, the ugliness of it. And
it's very heavy. Life is very heavy. And you need more of lightness, to bring a little levity to it and what have you. So better balance, right? Yeah. I feel you. I think this event will be very successful. There's a lot of good information being provided. As Toni has indicated, there's been some conversations on our end. I know there's been conversations in other locations as well, but to have them all in one place at this event will be good to further the process. No one place is going to have all the solutions. It's just step in the right direction. Hopefully people will get that bit of information that they need at the time that they need it so that they can move on, to the next step. So I'm curious to hear how successful it is. I might be able to sneak up there. I'm gonna do my best to make it because I usually don't. I'm unable to usually make events because I got a lot of things happening behind the scenes for me. But if I can, I definitely will.
Well, you got to help me with the shimmy and shuffle.
I might have to do that. I like that post. And you guys, you have a lot of energy, and I'm amazed at how quickly. I know it's been months in the making, but it's still rather quick in terms of how you're actually pulling this together. So I wish you much success. When I do the announcements, I'm going to have the flyer again where they can register and get additional information. And
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate it. And it's we're in community, and like it's the conversation, just the continued conversation that hopefully opens things up for people so they can move forward. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also have fun.
Yeah, that combination is good. I think that's going to draw more people. I think a lot of these events they're all mainly just serious. There's no fun involved. So if you can capture some fun in it, I think it's going to draw more people, especially for any future events you have. And if you do listen, truly, as had been mentioned in the conversation, if you listen to the community and what they're asking for, then in future events, you can bring that to the table. That'll be even better.
Yeah. I think it's such an unpacking of, because there are so many components to this rebuild, right? And so it's what I'm trying to bring together are like multiple people per component that give options. So so you have the buffet, if you will. So this is the problem, and then here are 3 solutions that you can choose from. That's sort of what I like. I personally like to have options.
Yeah.
So,
you gotta have options. People may not vibe with the first person they hear from, so it's nice to have, like you said, options, because they may find that one builder, that one whatever that actually really makes sense and it clicks with them, so that they can go with it. If they only see one and it doesn't work, maybe they'll be discouraged and not move forward right away. So I think that'll be very good.
And you bring up a great point, which is if you don't understand something, if you are confused, it is okay to say, I do not understand what you're saying. I think a lot of people feel like they're supposed to get it. And I think that's where sometimes when people say, oh my God, I got so much information, but I'm overwhelmed, because it wasn't broken down for them. And they didn't feel comfortable to say, help me understand that better. Help me help me understand this. I want to understand this, so we move on and we go to the next thing. And then that never gets fixed. But I think it's partially the person who's giving the information's responsibility, but it's also the person taking the information, their responsibility to say, I don't understand. And it's okay to say that.
And to that point, hopefully you're encouraging not only the people who are speaking to regularly bring that point up, but also encourage the people who are listening to raise their hand and let it be known that they don't have any a full comprehension of what's happening, or the subject matter. And maybe even it's the follow-up stuff. So hey, look, if you don't get it all right now, not only will you have some content later on that's being recorded that'll be available for you to play back, but maybe here are some resources that you can follow up with this person that you maybe wanted to get the information from but just didn't quite understand it. You can follow up with them later, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably have that. But if you didn't have that already in mind, hopefully you can incorporate that in the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, we have a lot of great information, but I know there's things that we are not going to grab in the first round. I know that there's going to be things that are going to uncover. And that's where the continual conversation comes from, is that it's not like a one and done. It's just a conversation where people just become more and more comfortable with asking the questions and not moving on to the next thing because it feels too overwhelming.
Sure.
Right. Because I think that we want people to have agency, and we don't want people to have choices thrust upon them. We want them to feel like that they're making the choices. But I think sometimes if you don't make choices, the choices become smaller, right? Sure. And so giving them the information to be able to move forward so choices are not made on their behalf without their own agency. That's key.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I hope it's a great event. We look forward to hearing about it, either from you specifically in the future. Yeah. Hopefully I can add a little content and commentary as well.
I would love that. I hope I get to see you shimmy. You'll be there for the shuffle. And yeah, I would love to come back and tell you what we learned and what else came up.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate this. And I appreciate all you're doing for the community.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. We look forward to
seeing you soon.
Later. All right. Take care.
Bye, you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And so, thank you two for popping back in. I know that you were about to do the announcements, which is good because I'm getting nauseous.
I was about to ask if anything kicked in because you looked like you were doing okay there for a second.
Yeah,
it was like a wave. Like you were like, I'm okay, and no, I'm not.
Yeah, because now the nausea is coming.
Yeesh.
So,
all right,
yeah, migraine suck.
She looked like she's about to go do karaoke and do all Tina Turner songs.
Me?
Right. The opposite.
How tight my eyes are. They're almost closed, but they're open because it's hurting to open.
I'm your private dancer, a dancer for money, and any old music will do. Come on, ladies, sing along.
Are you doing announcements now?
Clap your hands together.
I'm gonna wait for the intermission real quick. We're gonna take a 5-minute break here.
Sexual chocolate.
Here we go, everybody.
I believe the children are our future.
You are a fool, man. You are a fool. So, man, I couldn't be there yesterday. Looked like it was a pretty good show. I saw Marcus came on. So, and how did you do with the slides? I didn't listen, Brian. Just real quick before I begin.
I actually did quite well, I guess.
Excellent.
I was reading them, so
excellent.
Marcus was there trying to get ready to catch me making a mistake. I think I made one, but he missed that mistake. So
okay, all right, well, good. Well, let me jump in here and do it. What happened? Oh,
I was trying to put my avatar on and did something else. Y'all know I'd be messing.
We're gonna make that as your new avatar, looking like this.
right, well, here we go. So we have the Altadena Community Center where you can get the in-person essential services for the initial stage of recovery from 2025 wildfires. It's located at 730 East Altadena Drive in Altadena, and they're open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We also have the LA County One Stop Permit Center, which is still located at 464 West Woodbury Road, Suite 210 in Altadena. They have walk-in hours from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And you can set up a rebuild consultation appointment for yourself as an individual, or for a small group on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. or on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to noon. You can also set up a Southern California Edison planner appointment Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 to noon. The way you set these up is you go to the website recovery.lacounty.gov/rebuilding/one-stop-permit-centers. And just a reminder, the in-person SBA assistance has returned. They are at the Eden Fire Collaborative at 540 West Woodbury Road in Altadena, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're also available at the Ronald Reagan Palisades Post 283 at 15247 La Cruz Drive in Pacific Palisades. They are open there from 8:30 to 5 p.m. And the county's waiving and refunding permit fees for those who are rebuilding after the Eaton and Palisades fires. Homeowners who've already paid can potentially have those fees refunded. Those who've yet to pay those fees can potentially have them waived. Say potentially because you must demonstrate that you both owned as well as lived in the property prior to the 7th of January of 2025. In addition, the project that you work on must be eligible, such as the replacement of your single-family home destroyed by the fires, which does include accessory structures like pools, ADUs, and garages. It also covers standalone ADUs for temporary occupancy during rebuilding. What's not eligible, however, are commercial, multifamily, rental, or temporary housing projects, as well as any properties not damaged by the fires. Now, to actually apply for the refund or the waiver, you would either scan the QR code or go to the website recovery.lacounty.gov/fee-waivers-and-refunds and fill out the online form. And you can either then print it up and then walk it into either the Altadena Community Center or the One Stop Permit Center, or you can add it to an email as an attachment and send that email to recovery@planning.lacounty.gov. Either way, you only need one form to cover all departments. The Calasis Mortgage Fund is still around, and they made some recent changes. You can now get up to 12 months of mortgage. You get 12 months of mortgage payments up to a maximum dollar amount of $100,000. The fees don't have to be repaid because it's a grant and it's free to apply. If you do get the grant, the money does go directly to your mortgage servicer, and eligibility requirements are your primary residence must have been destroyed or considered uninhabitable due to either of the fires last year or any other qualified disaster from the 1st of January of 2023 through the 8th of January of 2025. You also must have owned and occupied your home, and it could have up to 4 units on the property, as well as meet income limits or the combined income limits now of $281,400. Now, if you do apply, you must be prepared to provide your bank statements, your utility bills, mortgage statements, proof of income, as well as your homeowner's insurance or FEMA claim. And to actually apply, you want to go to the website, calassistmortgagefund.org. And if you need help, you can get telephone help by calling 800-501-0019, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if you'd like in-service help, you can go to one of 2 locations. The first is the Altadena Community Center at 730 East Altadena Drive. The other is the One Stop Rebuild Center at 1828 Sawtell Boulevard in LA. Both locations are available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, I know the biggest part of the storm has passed us. However, we do have more rain coming later in the week as well as next week. So just want to make sure the main part of this particular one, want to make sure that you pay attention to is the emergency go bag. Just kind of be prepared. Ensure you have that go bag stocked with essentials like flashlights, batteries, water, non-perishable foods, etc. And make sure you have that ready to go in case of an emergency, in case you have to evacuate. But more importantly, or more specifically to the rain, you can get sandbags from the following fire stations. It's Fire Station 37 at 3430 East Foothill Boulevard from 8 a.m. to 5, and then Fire Station 38 at 1150 Linda Vista Avenue, also 8 a.m. to 5. And it says available while supplies last, and it's limited to 10 sandbags per resident with your proof of residency. And every Monday and Tuesday, Project Passion has their Freedom Store at Harambe, which is at 1609 Navarro Avenue in Pasadena. Each day it's from 9 to 4 p.m. And you can actually get items such as toiletries, home essentials, and more. You do have to set up an appointment. You can do so by going to tinyurl.com/Project Passion Freedom Store, all caps and all one word, or you can scan the QR code. And then Eden Fire Health Village has their free medical and mental health clinic every Monday and Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at 1280 East Washington Boulevard in Pasadena. You can call them to schedule an appointment or ask questions at area code 951-595-7032. They do also accept walk-ins. And the emergency rent relief applications did reopen last Monday, the 9th, where you can actually get up to 6 months of past due rent or mortgage-related hardship assistance or eligible utility costs being covered, and it can be up to $15,000 per unit, which tenants now can apply, which is new. Landlords can still apply. And just so you know, the application deadline is going to be the 11th of March. 4:59 p.m. To actually apply, you want to go to lacountyrentrelief.com. Okay, that is passed. I should have taken that out. Sorry about that. The My Tribe Rise Adopt a Survivor matching fund drive still going on. They're trying to raise an additional $500,000 to reach their total amount of $1 million so that they can provide bridge funding for rent or mortgage coverage for up to 50 families. If you're able to donate, please do so by scanning the QR code on the screen. And there is a free grief and loss support group for LA Fires every Wednesday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Maxwell House at 55 South Grand Avenue in Pasadena. It is also virtual and is for anyone impacted by the recent fires. However, it is for adults only. It is free of charge. And if you have some questions, you can reach out to Joanne Diaz-Kogel at 818-395-8066 or via email at Joanne, Joanne, Kogel, Koegl at gmail.com. And then every Wednesday, so coming up tomorrow from 12 to 3 p.m., Juicy Little Finds Thrift Store provides the We Out Here Market at the world famous Fair Oaks Burger at 2560 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Altadena. It's exclusively available for Altadena residents, so bring your IDs. There'll be fresh fruit and produce and groceries, free smoothies, and much more. And they do need donations as well as volunteers to kind of keep this going. So if you're interested in donating or volunteering or have questions, you can reach out to juicylittle.org. We out here. I'm gonna say it because he wasn't saying
We out here. You know I'm doing something else. Sorry, I wasn't even looking.
I know. There's also still another pop-up which is good. Pop-up market happening this Wednesday, tomorrow, from 12 until supplies last at the Lifeline Fellowship Christian Fellowship at 2556 North Lake Avenue in Altadena. They'll also provide 100 free hot meals provided by El Patron Restaurant. They also have the Boots on the Ground special end of the month Wednesdays, where they give out bulk supplies so you can load up at that event. And let me swap over to this here so I can read it. Okay, so also happening tomorrow from 7 to 8 p.m. is a Zoom event. It's a 1,000 person Zoom event called Fire Recovery and Taxes, What Survivors Need to Know, where you can get clear answers before small decisions become big problems. So if you lost your home or were displaced by the Eden, Palisades, or Malibu fires, you likely have tax questions. So Victory Bible Church is hosting a 1-hour educational webinar with public counsel to help survivors understand what must be reported, what may be excluded, and how choices made now can quietly affect you years down the line. They're going to cover whether insurance proceeds are taxable, including ALE, federal and state tax relief exclusions, casualty loss and involuntary conversion, rebuilding versus buying replacement properties, capital gains exclusions, timing, extensions, audits, and how settlements affects taxes. So again, it is from 7 to 8 p.m. It is a Zoom. I will, for tomorrow, get a QR code, and we'll also get a little shorter link because it's a little hard to.
There's a QR code on there. Biggest day.
Oh, you know what? I didn't scroll up. That was my bad. So I'm looking at a different screen. So my bad.
Okay, no problem.
Just scan the QR code. Thank you for opening my eyes, Toni. So
and you know what?
Palisades.
I'll create one in our thing too, so you can have that.
No, it's perfectly fine. I'm looking somewhere else because I had to zoom it in. I can't zoom in the slides, so I couldn't see the QR code. I think as long as I can see the QR code, it is perfect.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, it works fine. So there'll also be another webinar, same time. So it's the exact same time. Quite a few of the topics, similar topics, are going to be covered. This is also an online event, but this is put on by Eden Fire Survivors Network. So you can register at efsurvivors.net/events or scan the QR code. So you have a couple options when it comes to getting some tax understanding tomorrow from 7 to 8. And there's the 44th Annual Black History Festival happening at Robinson Park at 1081 North Fair Oaks Avenue this Saturday, the 21st, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you'd like more information, you can reach out to cityofpasadena.net/parks-and-rec. There's going to be festival highlights such as youth performances, live entertainment, food trucks, community resource booths, as well as Altadena talks. And then, as we talked earlier with Nicole, the Stronger Together Solution Summit is taking place this Saturday, the 21st, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's taking place at the Pasadena Convention Center. It's a one-day summit bringing residents, small businesses, builders, educators, funders, and government leaders together to share clear information, real resources, and next steps after the fires. So if you're looking for additional information, you can scan the bottom left QR code. If you would like to register for the event, which they do request that you do, please scan the bottom right. Also, this weekend, there is a LA Soil Summit on the 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. live at an Altadena burn site. I believe it's 3330 Lake Avenue is where they have this on their one of their socials, and I can add that later in the week. But they're actually going to have a status of soil testing and remediation, gaps in testing. They're going to cover that, and collaborating for safety and resilience. And then on the 22nd is going to be a Zoom event where experts are going to be talking about the results of the information. So to register, you can scan the QR code in the upper left of this particular page, and there is a cost for this event, and it is $25. And then this Sunday, Pasadena Village and Classical Notes is having Out of the Ashes, a Journey of Resilience through Jazz event from 4 to 5:30 p.m. at the Collaboratory, which is at 540 West Woodbury Road in Altadena. Should be nice to go hear some nice jazz. And on the 28th, there's an event called Through the Fire Procession. It's a community walk of remembrance, healing, and return. It'll be at 9 p.m. at Loma Alta Park in Altadena. To RSVP, you want to go to handsinthesoil.com/through-the-fire. And then the Grief Party, a grief and loss vision board experience, is taking place the 28th of February from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It's going to be at Deliverance Tabernacle Church at 1299 Summit Avenue in Pasadena. It's being run and hosted by Dr. Tamitra Clark. So come receive support and healing as you gain tools to embrace the pain, honor the loss, and live intentionally, giving your grief a place to live and not hurt. There's a $100 fee, which will include vision board, supplies, facilitation, support, and light snacks. So definitely please attend. If you're having issues with the $100, go ahead and reach out, and there is some assistance that can be provided for you. And then on Thursday, February 26th from 3 to 5:30 p.m. at the Eden Fire Collaboratory, there will be an event, Rebuild with Resilience, Wildfire Rebuilding Certification Training, gaining practical tools and expert guidance for resilient rebuilding in wildfire impacted communities. Space is limited, so if you're interested, please scan the QR code on the screen. And with that, I bring Toni and B back on. Toni has her video off. She, as for anybody who didn't know, she's not feeling very well. She does have a migraine. So hopefully you do feel better, Toni. And something we didn't address before and definitely want to, and I saw the post there about the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I want to hope he rests in power. He did die this morning, and I was thoroughly shocked from that. That's kind of crazy.
We lost two good ones because Duvall passed yesterday.
Yes,
and I was
Robert
shocked
Duvall.
that he was 95. I was like, he's that old? I love him.
Yes. You're muted, B.
How am I always muted and I don't turn on the mute? So I'm like wondering.
That's a great question.
So there are certain people that ever since I was little, they have always been old. Like they were born when they were 40. Robert Duvall's one of them. Like he has been the same age to me since I was watching movies with him in it, right? Yeah. Morgan Freeman, James Earl Jones.
Right.
I don't remember them young. I remember them older.
Right.
So I didn't really see any movies when they were young. I think Lawrence Fishburne was another one, but I actually saw him in Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
it was Apocalypse Now or Platoon, one of the two. And he was like 16.
I think Apocalypse. Yeah, it was one of those.
One of them. But then I seen him in Cornbread Earl and Me, and I was just like, oh no.
You know I love that show because Jamal Wilkes is in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
With his unstoppable shot.
Yeah, I used to love it. Hey, Toni.
It came from behind the
head.
head.
Honey.
You could go. You could go.
You've
already done your job. Go ahead and
pop out the show.
Yeah, put a hot cold rag on your head and stop thinking.
Turn off all the lights.
Yeah, the lights is that's why I dimmed it and turned it. I need to just go get in the bed.
Yeah, put on some ambient music.
Hope you feel better.
Starting to look like the witches from Hocus Pocus.
He said. Yeah, get some rest, Toni. Hope you feel better.
All right, thanks.
Of course.
All right, girl. We'll talk to you later.
Oh man, I've only had migraines maybe about less than 5 times in my life, and I don't function well when I get those. And I know, like my wife gets them very frequently. I know a lot of people get them. I don't know how y'all function. I feel for you. That's horrible.
I only had them when I get really bad toothaches. The remedy for me was to stand on my head, let the blood rush to my head, and then all of a sudden the throbbing just stops. Stay there for a couple of minutes afterwards, and then last for about a good 4 or 5 hours.
Man,
But
well, I
that
hope she
was
feels
rough.
better because she did take that medicine. I hope it kicks in for her.
That's probably what it was doing, kicking in.
Nah. Anyway, man. So yeah, Robert Duvall, Jesse Jackson. That's crazy. I mean, I know everybody goes, but there's certain people that you're still surprised and it still hurts.
Right.
And that's a rough one right there, man. I mean, well, both of them, but I'm talking about Jesse right now. He was definitely just so instrumental in the civil rights movements, and like you were talking about, keep hope alive. One of the first black men to run for president. Just meant a lot to our community, to the world, but specifically again to the black community.
Right.
Rest in power. Hope his family's cool. I mean, I know he was sick, so he's not in pain or discomfort anymore, which is a good thing, right?
Everybody keep your eye on Al Sharpton.
Yeah, he's up there too. Same group of folks, same time frame.
Pretty soon. I mean, this is a crucial time in our lives.
Yeah.
When majority of the people who fought for the freedoms that we have today are slowly passing away and won't be among us much longer.
Yeah.
But the goal now is what we need some of these Gen Z and millennials to step up into these shoes that they no longer fit in.
Well,
because they don't know what's going on.
It's ironic that you say that. I was actually this weekend when I was in Vegas with my in-laws. We were kind of talking about this, and they brought this point up that it's kind of a positive spin on the chaos that's going on right now. Is that those very generations that you mentioned are kind of having their eyes opened to the injustices and the craziness that's going on, stuff that they find out, hey, this had been switched in the past and now they're trying to change it back, like some of the progress that people had made. Now they're trying to, pull that stuff back to where it was before, when people, who look like us didn't have as much quote unquote freedom as we have now, which means that they're kind of understanding. I'm hearing more of these young folks asking a lot more questions, doing a little bit more research, like who was Jesse Jackson, or what was. I want to learn more about the civil rights movement. I want to learn more about this, that, and the other, and even getting into politics because it's drama right now. A lot of their friends being snatched by ICE and having certain people close to them affected by the craziness that's going on. So I think they're getting a little more involved than they would have had everything just been kind of chill. So it's a slight positive way to kind of take what's going on right now.
I was reading a post from a woman who
thank you, Tatras,
watched the new Tyler Perry movie Road Trip, right? And the movie is supposedly, I haven't seen it, just going by her summary, is about, of course, the uncle taking one of the sons on a college road trip because he wanted to go to Pepperdine and they were trying to give him the benefits of going to an HBCU. So along the way, the uncle, who's, he got the little pimp status and stuff, your Uncle Charles, he actually gives him some life lessons. And the woman said that she had her son come down and watch the movie with her. Mm-hmm. And as he was watching it, he started to ask questions, which is what the movie was provoking the conversation to do.
Yeah.
is to have the child or the children in your home watch this with you and ask these questions like, I didn't know that happened, or why is that? Because a lot of the kids nowadays don't know the struggles that our parents went through. I was born 2 years before civil rights actually happened. You were born in the year of civil rights. Mm-hmm. So it's only been around
for a generation,
57 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of the children don't know this because, their books were redefined. Instead of saying slavery, it was indentured servitude, which that wasn't the case. Now, it was indentured servitude after 1863 or 1865, whichever one you feel is the one that gave the freedom. But still, it was kind of weird because you have a new law, federal, nationwide, back in 1863, that stated that all slaves are free. All men are equal. Not really all men are equal. That wasn't really there. It was more like when they were handing out the land, like Toni talked about this before, when they were handing out the land to the people to get them started, they did not hand land out to black people.
Of course not.
They made them sit on those same plantations and now work to earn their keep.
Well, it was a situation where, okay, you're free, but what do you do now? You didn't have anything. You're not given anything. You don't have the tool. Even if you were given land, you don't have the tools to run the land and, work it and all that kind of stuff. It's like you were kind of, it's a whole situation where now you're free, but what do you do? So a lot of them had to stay and then kind of figure it out as time went on. But yeah, valid point, man. Valid point.
I'm just,
Sarah's oil. Okay.
Yeah, that was the one little girl who had inherited this land and had all that oil on it. Oh. And she became the richest black woman born out of slavery. And I don't know the exact story, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, I definitely want to check
that is. There's a lot of stuff I need to check out, but I'm so busy trying to help save our town that I don't get the chance to enjoy stuff. Now, I did have a great weekend this week. I think I talked about that a lot yesterday. Marcus came on, so it was cool. Well, I think I tried to show some pics. I think I went back and showed the pics from the party we did in '97. I was going to show them today, but again, I didn't prepare. So,
well, if you don't mind, I just want to give a shout out. The reason I didn't make it yesterday, folks, if you didn't know already, I was in Vegas for a volleyball tournament with my youngest daughter and her age 15U C2 Crown volleyball squad. It was a 3-day tournament, and in their particular division, there were 96 They came in third, and they kicked some boot. Hey, they balled. They played really, really hard. The game right before they lost, they played a team that they lost to on Sunday and got beat pretty badly. And they kind of reversed the score and really, really balled out. So really proud of that team. They had some fun. They even pulled together even more so than they had in the past. Because and again, I'm bragging. When they went to Denver a few weeks ago, and that was about 50 plus teams, almost 60, they took second place. So again, just outstanding. So giving credit to them and all the teams they played. There's a lot of talent out there in girls volleyball. Just slight stats. When we were there's 89 courts going on at the same time. They had an AM and a PM wave. There was over 800 teams that were there in various divisions from 17 down to 15. And each group had like 3 or 4 different divisions. But anyway, that's what I did for this weekend. Super proud of that team. And I have such an appreciation for that sport. These girls that play there's some good athletes out there. It's pretty fun. If you've never watched any volleyball, I suggest you take a little time and just check it out. It's kind of fun. It's really fun, and we're back at it this weekend. Got a 1-day tournament on Sunday.
Jamal has that commentator voice. You should probably be a volleyball commentator. Because, I mean, at this point, you know so much.
Well, I did something I don't usually do this weekend. I went live multiple times giving recaps live on Instagram. Again, I guess this show has inspired me to broaden my horizons and do stuff that I don't normally do. But I did go live. Thank you, Brian. I did go live and gave a bunch of recaps, and I had a few people that were following that were like, man, thank you for doing that, man. It felt like I was there too. And I was showing some videos of how big that place was. So if anybody's ever gone to a conference at a convention center, you know how you have the gigantic rooms. Oftentimes they'll divide the what do they call them? It's not ballrooms, but whatever the things are. But oftentimes there's one big one that an event will be in, and they'll have walls down. Well, this was 3 of them, no walls, just nonstop craziness going on. I would bring pictures, but I don't think I have them on.
Yeah, the noise factor is probably off the Richter. Huh?
Oh, it was stupid. It was stupid. All you heard was rip, rip from the whistles constantly blowing. And
which messes it up because you might think a whistle is blowing on another court for you.
It happened to me all the time. I'm watching the games and I'm hearing the whistle, and I look at the ref like, "What did we do?" Or why did you blow the whistle?
He hadn't even blown it.
I don't know how the girls, focused, but they did really well.
They told them probably just play through it until you're told to stop. I mean,
well, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, until you hear them keep blowing that whistle, keep playing. But yeah, it was crazy. I got popped in the face a couple times when he walking through the balls, running back and flying back in the head. 4, 5, 6, and 7. No, exactly. All of the above.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool times. I was happy when I tuned in for a minute. I saw you and Marcus on. I thought that was pretty cool. Thank you for stepping in,
I was
Marcus.
so glad he came on, boy, because it was going to be a little difficult trying to look at 3 screens and do that and prep for the announcements and do the
yeah, I think you would have figured it out though.
I mean, I was, but the beautiful thing about him speaking is people were focusing on him and I could look away.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool thing. So
trust me, I know the benefits of having more, someone on with you that can kind of help out. Trust me, I get it. I definitely get it. But hopefully everyone had a good Valentine's Day weekend as well. There's a lot going on, and President's Day, and it's crazy.
Well, something funny is the show that we did yesterday, I didn't share it at all.
Oh, really?
We got 786 views so far.
Okay.
I didn't even do anything because it was just me. I didn't have time to go do, we tag team off each other when we're on here. And in case people, you don't know how podcasts are run, there's several types. Most people, when you say podcast, they think you're talking about audio or you're driving in your car, which this can suffice for that as well. But in our case, we're almost fully ADA compliant because we actually read the visual images word for word verbatim, so that you will not miss anything when you're actually either trying to get the information, saving it, screenshotting it, whatever you're doing.
And quickly, for those who think we do too many or, it's a lot of announcements, that's the primary reason why we do that. Is just so, sometimes there are a lot, but we read them just to make sure that everybody gets the information, and in particular ADA compliant or as close to it as possible.
Well, that's the reason why this podcast was started, so we're going to make announcements so you know where to go. That's basically why we started it. I mean, I started going live at events and talking to you and telling you what was there so you could see it and hear me talk about it.
Yep.
After about a couple of weeks of that, we started the podcast up. And then it became more than just making announcements. Now we're talking about what are we going to do? Where do we go from here? What are the next steps? And then we led you through the toxic waste cleanup. We led you through the debris cleanup. We had a town hall with builders. We started being out in the community, not because we were looking for pub, but because we wanted to be at every last event so we could take pictures, come back and put them up on our site so you can see what's going on. So that, Fridays and Mondays are crucial for most people because that's when most people tune in to find out what's going on this weekend because they don't want to recap on Wednesday, they want to recap on Friday, and then they expect to see one of us, and then during the weekend, and then we come back on Monday. And I say that because we could be different places,
Oh, yeah.
That's why I say they expect to see one of us somewhere. But then we come back on Monday and talk to you about either what we did or what took place or what have you. And so just 15 shows away from 300 episodes. I didn't even think we were going to get 30 episodes in, to be honest.
I didn't think of whatever number we were going to do. I just was focusing on doing it.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing every day. And that's what makes it to where it doesn't seem like it's a crazy burden to do it because you're not looking forward to there's 300 more episodes. No one does that.
We got to do it today, and that's it. Focusing one step at a time.
And we on here Monday through Friday through rain, sleet, or snow. I fought almost crashing 4 times to get over here to do this show yesterday.
Damn.
It was worth it. It rained. I was trapped, and I didn't want to go up to Altadena because I already knew with all that rain came mudslides, and they actually put out a Amber Alert at about 1:30 that told there was an evacuation Amber Alert. I got this when I was in Pasadena, though, so I don't know if anybody got it up in Altadena. That's another thing we need to figure out. Is take a survey, and if anybody, we'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Did you get the Amber Alert if you're up in Altadena telling you that it was time to evacuate? Because again, if you did not, that's what I'm saying. If you did not, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
I got it because I'm down here in Pasadena. Yeah, I really would like to know too. I wish I would have been up there when it went off. Then I could have told you, but I'll have to talk to somebody who might have been up there. It's hard to catch anybody because you don't know who still lives up there. To be honest, I don't even know who still lives up there.
Right.
Because of the fact that there's pockets of houses that are still there. Now that you got the construction building up, I just look and see lots of construction. I can't even see the house that was probably next door to it that made it. So.
True.
Yeah, we got a lot of things planned this year. I got some venues to meet with to schedule some wellness events for the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, we'll be sharing all that information as we get things locked down, so we can give you dates and registration links and QR codes and all that good stuff.
Now, remember, we're still going to be dealing with builders after about 6 or 7. Well, what's today? Almost the end of middle of February. March, April, May, June, July. So about 5 more months, the lawyers are going to be around, taking information and then starting to do your depositions with you to get your information on what you lost, whether you're grieving, how you feel, stuff like that. Remember, because we're less than 11 months away from the first lawsuit, which hopefully it doesn't go into a lawsuit. It starts the settlement process. Now, I did see a news clipping that said there have been 500 settlements of over 165 million combined. If you just broke it down by numbers, that's $330,000 per claim. But then again, evenly. Yes, if you divide it evenly, but you got to remember, some people are going to get more, some people are going to get less. If you had an insurance gap, like say you have 500,000 and they're giving 900, they're going to give you 400 or 500, whatever it was that you didn't have. Plus, each person in your household may get a certain amount of money. I don't know what it is. I was going to actually just go to them and see what they were looking to give me if I didn't go with a lawyer. I haven't done that yet because I'm constantly busy. So it's hard to set aside time to do certain things.
Well, hopefully you find time to do it soon because you definitely.
Well, I'm still going through the 20, 30 FEMA? Page. Oh. No, not FEMA. the law firm I went with, Todd Becker. I'm still going through the form to really put it in my words how I felt, because I don't like to think about it. So then I started thinking about it, start writing about it, start getting angry, or I go through a slew of emotions. I might get sad about certain parts of the questions that they're asking. Like, did you lose any animals because of the thing? Yeah. Jasper died 4 months later. Pretty sure there was nothing wrong with him before that.
Yeah, there's a correlation to it.
Yeah, he's moving around. He's got to move. He's got to do all this. It's just a lot. Everybody's situation is different. Some people lost family members. Some people, like Marcus, was looking to find their family's ashes to put them back someplace where they could be seen. Yeah. And thank God for these organizations that came out to help them out. I mean, nobody has this kind of money to be doing all this stuff and
rebuild your house.
Yeah.
Like Nicole was saying, the 7 or however many people who lost their homes did not intend to be in construction.
Right. There's something like about 20,000 people. I mean, if you really look at just on average, the average household here had 2 to 4 people in it. So if 6,000 homes were gone, that means at least 12,000 to 24,000 people were displaced.
Yep.
So nobody really has the true numbers because, again, not every neighbor knew each other.
Right.
So, I mean, you can go by your street. I can tell you my street, I probably know, let's see, it's probably like 20 houses on the street, maybe 25, because you got to remember one driveway might have 4 houses, on it, going one over, the house is right here, it is right here, keep going down the driveway and there's 2 more houses. So there probably was like 25 to 30 houses on our street. We probably knew about 20 of the people that lived on the street. I mean, Coach Paul lived on my street, the Robledos lived on the street, Ali lived on the street. The Birds lived on the street. The lady lived across the street. Giorgio's friends lived 2 houses over with, 2 houses on the lot, knew them, knew the people over here. So you kind of, you be outside. I get asked this question all the time is, why do you like to sit in your car at your house? And I'm like, this has been a tradition that has not just been made up by me. I watched this from a young age. The old head sitting in the car listening to some Al Green, probably enjoying the cigar because the wife don't want him in the house with it. Or, his buddy come over, they chopping it up, they sitting in the car, just chilling. That was how I remember Altadena and Pasadena, And so I keep the tradition going. I'm always in my car sitting here chilling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And people are like, why are you sitting in your car? I said, this is my sanctuary. Right. So I can, and if I really want to get private, my car has all tinted windows. All I gotta do is put my sunshade up in the front. It's nap time. I can look at my phone, watch a movie time. It's whatever it is I want to do. So that's my own little sanctuary. I don't care what house I had. I could be, most people will sit in their garage. I remember a lot of my friends, I go over and we over there playing dominoes, the garage door up. I started off at your parents' house with the garage door up, just chilling. And you would drive down the street. We have the kind of town and the kind of friends that you really just popped up on people. Every time I came up from San Diego when I was living down there decades ago, first thing I do is I go to all my friends' house and just go knock on the door. Hey, man, Jamal, what brings you up here? Even if he might not even be able to talk, he's going to spend 15 minutes at least.
Right.
He drove all the way. But that's how it was. Open door policy, baby, with your friends. You open the door because that's how it was when you were little. In fact, majority of my friends, parents would just let you walk in the house because they knew you.
Yeah, I mean, it took a couple times, but once you got over that whatever time frame when they got familiar with you, then yeah, you're welcome in and out. But also remember, you had to go to the houses to get in contact with people, because oftentimes if you're already out and about, we didn't have cell phones back in the day, no pagers, no none of that. So you had to physically go like, hey, I was in the neighborhood,
Or
just had to.
You had to make plans before you left school. Remember?
Yeah.
We wasn't calling nobody. Hey man, so Saturday we going over here to the party, and then Sunday we gonna meet at the park at 12. Don't forget.
You're right.
Or we make those little flyers where you drew the map and tell them where to meet up at. Antoine Peterson. I love him to death for this, because every reunion we have, he makes the little flyer and hands it to the people.
No, for real?
Now the house party. Here's the directions.
Yeah, old school. Keeping it alive.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I love our town, is because we have that type of camaraderie and atmosphere. So
sure,
you got to get it back.
It's coming.
So we will be doing that. So I think this is one of our longest shows today. Yesterday, me and Marcus went for about an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and 36 minutes.
That's what you see?
Not now. Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you was looking at this. I'm
yeah,
like, how are you so far behind?
I got 145. Yeah, I think it was a good show. I'm glad Nicole came on, was able to tell about her event. There's a lot going on with that. Share some of the things, Toni was sharing some of the things that we've done and doing a little comparison and contrast and suggestions. I think it'll be good. I think, as I mentioned before, having multiple organizations put together events to help people, I think is great. Just like Nicole was talking about having options that you can choose from. This is a way of doing the same thing. People can have options and multiple ways to hear the information. Because just like when Toni said the town hall or the builders town hall that we did, we all knew, and she knew in particular, that not everybody was going to be ready to hear that information, but somebody was. And some people were going to move a little faster than others. And it was important for people to kind of get a concept of what they're going to have to expect. But other people did events like that and had builders, and I think it's just good. It's going to be an ongoing thing until everybody comes back, and we're going to be right there. We'll provide our own events. We're going to talk about the events that are going on and share information. So we're going to keep doing what we do, baby. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, even though some people didn't want to hear it, it moved at the pace it was supposed to move.
For sure.
Because you wouldn't have wanted to have 50 people say, I want to go at this building right now. That would have been overwhelming. No. So as they watched other people start, that's what happened. I'm going to see what Mabel's going to do first and see what hers looks like in a time frame. Sure, and then I'm going to call Eleanor. And all my parents' friends were named Eleanor, Willa Mae, Bertha Jean.
Yeah, I had Aunt Leola. Izora was my great grandmother.
Yeah, those were the combinations when they wanted to combine the mama and the daddy in the name. Like Lee John. Remember that on First Sundays with Tommy, Tracy Morgan?
Yes.
Ice Cube. My mom let me Lee John because she don't know if I got pregnant, if she got pregnant by Lee or John. I'm like, wow. Right. Crazy. But it is what it is.
But hey, this was a good one.
Success.
It's a Tuesday, everybody. Yeah, Tuesday. Hopefully you have a wonderful, I guess we're going to wrap it up. Yeah? You good?
I'm good.
Cool. Hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Tune in for tomorrow because it is hump day. Excuse me. Got a hump in my throat or something. Damn. Sorry. Hump day.
Don't choke.
And Wellness Wednesdays. I'm not sure exactly the specific topic, but we do encourage you all. If you have some ideas that you want to talk about for Wellness Wednesday, please send us a message, make a comment. Which method shall we provide for them to reach out to us? I always forget.
There should be the banner that says
this podcast.
right there.
Oh, that's podcast guest. So yeah, if you want to come on in and talk, be on the show and share your point of view about anything related to the recovery effort, I think that would be really, really cool. We always are open to have you guys join us, share your point of view. We would prefer to not just be talking at y'all all the time. We'd love to have an engaging conversation outside of the individual, specific guests that we have on. Love to have you come on and just share whatever's on your mind.
Yeah, it's been a year. I mean, I know y'all got something to talk about.
A little progress.
Yeah, I know you don't want to hear me talking about it. I do that on holidays when nobody else is here.
That's right. But again, have a great day. If you're out in the rain, please be safe. And I guess we will see you mañana. Peace, y'all.